I think last year had to happen so that this year could happen. I think that's a lesson that I take with me all the time. Sometimes bad things have to happen to you so that the old you can die and a new one can be born. So a lot of guys that chose to come back and play with us this year, go through the struggle. They came back. A lot of young guys didn't have a chance to really play. We won the turnover battle for the second week in a row. I don't know that we turned the ball over. We had a block punt, which obviously isn't good enough, but. So we have to keep getting better, right? But this was a big moment, So it was really big for us to show up and not back down from their stars because we're a little different. Our team is our star, right? And while I know Dylan's getting a lot of publicity, and we have a lot of guys who could be stars, our defense is a star. So everyone kept talking about this guy, that guy, that guy, and I kept saying, hey, they're forgetting our defense. They're forgetting the black shirts. And had we not had that block punt, lean to that field position and then that tough targeting call, they wouldn't have scored today.
Notorious.
There you have Matt Rule talking big boy, what, letting his nuts hang after a big win versus Colorado. And if you watch the game, you can see it from two different lenses. On one hand, you can say, man, you know what, that score was probably that game was a lot closer than the scoreboard indicated. If Shedeur doesn't throw that pick six on the goal line or that close to the end zone, and blah blah blah. The score could have been a lot of different ways. But one thing is, on the other side, you can say, my bad. On the other side, I'm forgetting my points. On the other side, you could say, you know what, not Colorado, Nebraska probably took it easy on Colorado. You can see it. You can make an argument for both sides. But either way, if you've been following my channel for a while, then you know that this game was one game I was torn between. Only reason I really picked Colorado was because everybody else said they was gonna lose, and who don't like a good underdog fight? But overall, man, I thought just watching that game and seeing what Dylan Raiola could potentially be for Nebraska this year, seeing everything Matt Rule has done over the last year come to fruition and be on full display on the biggest stage possible in week 2. It's amazing. It was super amazing. I mean, that Nebraska defensive line and defense was absolutely nasty. I mean, 6 sacks, 10 tackles for loss, completely obliterated, erased Colorado's offensive line. The running game went for $150 and 2 touchdowns. Dylan Raiola went for 185 and the TD. 36 minutes worth of time of possession for Nebraska. They had a lot of penalties, but they had a lot of penalties in a win and not a loss. On Shedeur head all game long, all night long, but Shedeur couldn't get away. He couldn't do nothing. But hey, man, look, shout out to Matt Rule, man. Dylan Raiola, that staff, that offensive line, that defensive line, that defense. Hey, man, be on the lookout for Nebraska. I'm looking forward to covering Nebraska the rest of the season. Colorado and Nebraska was the two teams I liked outside of Georgia, going head to head. Clearly, Colorado was outmatched up front, especially after they put on that poor display with NDSU in week 1. I knew immediately, I say, man, if you gave up 1 or 2 sacks and a lot of pressure to NDSU throwing quick game, then you probably going to give up a lot more sacks and pressures to Nebraska this week, because Nebraska is a vastly better team than NDSU. Nothing against NDSU, but NDSU is a FCS for a reason. But yeah, overall, hey, man, good game. Nebraska, shout out, man. It got to feel good to be 2-0 for probably the first time in a long time. The future looks bright this season, next season, and the season after that. Who knows? Dylan may be gone at 3, so you better get what you can out of him while you got him.